human whose name is written in this note shall die.
Shall we begin?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cinemaholic Productions, where a notebook falls out of the sky, we write down names, and kill some of our fans. My name is Spencer, and I'm a Cinemaholic.
My name is Bela, and I'm a Cinemaholic.
And I'm Ryan, and I'm a Cinemaholic. And as he introduced, we are talking about Death Note. This is a manga and an anime that was adapted to the screen by Adam Wingard. And personally, I've watched the anime twice through, and I love it. Every day it kind of goes back and forth, but at the moment, I think this is my favorite anime. And so I was hesitant going into this movie because I think the thing that this anime really strives on is the long form narrative. It's 37 episodes, and it kind of takes that time to dive into the psyche. It's a very psychological anime. So we get this 90-minute adaptation directed by Adam Wingard, the guy who brought you Blair Witch. Spencer knows a little bit more about Adam Wingard, so maybe he'll mention that. But overall, this was a very pathetic attempt at an adaptation. Spencer, start us off. What'd you think?
Well, gloves off already is what I have to say about what you just said. Yeah, big fan of Adam Wingard, like huge fan of Adam Wingard. Your Next was the first movie I saw by him. Actually, no, his segment in VHS when I was in high school. I remember watching the first VHS and being terrified, particularly by the first segment. But Adam Wingard's segment was probably my least favorite, actually, in that first film. But then I saw Your Next, and I went and saw it with some friends in theaters. Pretty close after I moved out to Utah, actually, and really dug Your Next a lot. And then in 2014, he released The Guest, which would be in my top 5 favorite movies of 2014. I think that movie is fantastic. It might even be my favorite movie of 24. I'd have to think about it, but that movie is awesome. So he reminded me a lot of John Carpenter when his filmography first started. He was a very old-fashioned type of filmmaker who had throwbacks to the 80s, and his music sounded very Carpenter-esque. And then Blair Witch happened, and that one was okay if you're a hardcore fan of Blair Witch Project, which I am. But then I went back and watched it for a second time and thought it was just not good whatsoever. And Death Note, I think, has a very interesting premise. I did not know anything at all about this movie or series before I went. And the first thing I thought after it ended was that this should have been a live action television series, because it does feel like this material is extremely rushed over. The movie takes no time whatsoever for him to get the Death Note book. And then we're kind of just thrown into this situation without having any sort of the character of Light, who is the protagonist of this film, is not likable whatsoever, in my opinion, from the beginning of the movie. So we're kind of just with this kid who we don't like whatsoever, and we don't really have any sort of connection to other than he attempts to stop a fight at the beginning of the movie, and I just felt like it did not work. A couple things I liked about this, though. The creature design was incredible in this movie, and the way that the film was shot I really liked. I do think they used a couple too many Dutch angles, but I think that there were moments where Light was in the foreground and Rayek, or however the hell you say that thing's name, he was in the background, and his eyes were just glowing. It looked really creepy, and the aesthetic of it was awesome. And I thought Willem Dafoe did a good job as Rayek. But yeah, overall, I'd say I was pretty disappointed as a whole in this film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have never seen the Death Note. I think I saw 2 episodes of the anime, but and I don't think I'd seen any movies of this director. But unlike you said, I was disappointed with this movie too. Like you said, there were some nice shots, and I liked that. I think one of the best things of the movies. Of this movie. I thought it was weak, and I just didn't like the characters. No, it didn't work for me. I was kind of bored.
That was one thing for me that was the worst, was literally this movie took so long. And it was what, 80, it was 90 or 100 minutes. Like, it was a little over an hour and a half. And I want to give two kind of thoughts. As a anime fan of this anime, I seriously wanted to write my own name in the Death Note. It was that bad. It was just painful to watch, because the whole point of the anime is that it is a cat and mouse fight of who's going to catch who. Is L going to be able to outsmart Light? And you're able to sympathize even with Light at the beginning. And through the first couple of episodes, you feel for him. You're like, okay, he's in a very bad situation, and maybe I personally wouldn't go as far as to kill someone, but it's kind of like a Batman scenario where it's like, he killed my parents, I'm going to get even with him. But Light's version of getting even is killing the guy. But over time, you can see his progression, and you see how he started with good intentions, and he's just thrown, and he gets way in over his head, and it becomes a thing of, I'm going to cover my butt the whole time. And it's masterfully done, and it makes you think the whole time. But then this thing is just trash. Now, looking at it from a movie standpoint, not comparing it to the anime, it still wasn't good. I mean, I don't hate it as much, because I can kind of step back and look at it, but still, the character development is not good. Light is played by Nat Wolff, and he's been good in some performances, but I did not like him in this. The only person that I did like was William Dafoe, and you never even see him. He's just a voice actor. And some of the times I even was like, oh, it's the Green Goblin. Like, oh, but it wasn't anything special. And the direction was not very good. It seemed whimsical and half-hearted. And that's kind of how it all came across. It was like, we want to be serious and dark and a horror, but the only really horror things they had was Ryuk, and some of the kills went very gory. And now it's a horror movie. And there was no suspense. It was just a very meh, blah film. There was nothing to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's one scene. I don't know if we're going with spoilers here. I don't know. It's on Netflix. Care less. Okay.
Everybody has Netflix. They should have watched it by now.
Exactly. So there's one scene when he first meets Ryuk. Yeah, and they're in the classroom, and he starts screaming. That was so ridiculous. I was like, that's a really bad acting. I didn't like that scene. I thought it was stupid. Like, he was screaming like, help, help, and smiling. Like, I just thought it was stupid.
I'd be screaming if I saw that thing.
Yeah, but I would be like freaking out and like crying.
I'd be breaking the window is what I would be doing.
Yeah.
That first kill was awesome. That was so gory and amazing. I liked the kills in this movie. I thought sometimes they got kind of funny, like to the point where I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but it was so kind of like dark, and I felt like it was kind of trying to nudge the audience, like, look how gory we can get with this. And I like that about it. I think I like this movie a little bit more than you guys did. And I think the worst part about it was actually the script. The script was not good. I didn't have a problem with the direction like Ryan did as much. I do think there were, like I said, they used too many Dutch angles. And overall, this isn't a good movie. I just didn't hate this movie, I don't think. But I also have no previous connection to the source material.
I'm going to score it 4. That's all I have to say.
I was going to score it 4 too. So yeah, 4.
I'll give this one a 5.25. No, a 5. I'm going to give this a 5 because I want to say I liked it more than I didn't. I feel like I'm right in the middle. So yeah, I didn't really think that one through. Sorry, guys.
I will admit that there were some moments where I was just kind of like, okay, I can take this for what it is. But just overall, it really was so boring. And I had no desire. Like, I was watching it at night and it wasn't too late, so I probably could have finished. But like halfway through, I was like, meh, I'll get to this when I get to this. And I finished it like the next day or two. But it was like, it didn't hold my attention at all.
Yeah, that sounds rough. I watched this all in one sitting, so yeah, I hate doing that with movies, but I can understand that in some instances. Well, I think that about wraps it up for Death Note. You guys got nothing else to add, right?
Nope,
No.
got nothing else. Follow me on Stardust, Twitter, and Letterboxd at Rye_Gordon.
Follow me on Twitter at Bela Romano _ and on Stardust and Letterboxd, just Bela Romano.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at SpinnyHind and Stardust and Letterbox, all at SpinnyHind. And if you don't have Stardust yet, go ahead and download it and follow all of us. Like, add to Ryan's army of followers.
And Jeremy Johns. Anyways, huge shout out.
Did you just plug Jeremy Johns on our channel? He's got enough people who follow him. Don't follow Jeremy.
Yeah, like 230 people follow him.
I'm talking about on YouTube. Okay, nothing against Jeremy Johns. We should not be talking smack about our fellow YouTubers.
I do need to shout out to Cody Buckner, and we will be tweeting and all that stuff. But definitely check out Cody. He's helped us. He was the original designer of the logo, and he's helped us revamp the channel, especially for Telluride and the new things that we're planning on doing. So check him out on Instagram, Cody Buckner. And until next time,
Bye.
bye.